going on? We got our debut episode of a podcast to deep left field by Castellanos. So the plan today is to do a little playoff preview for the MLB to start off with, and then we'll get into our individual playoff predictions. And then the last point we're going to look at is some possible breakout stars, similar to Randy Arozarena last playoffs. Anybody?
Good one.
Yeah. All right. So does anyone want to start with a little preview action? I think I should contact our resident Yankees expert to talk about the first wild card game, which at the time of recording is an hour away.
Oh, that would be me.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
I'm a Yankees expert too.
Yankees red. Boch is an expert at hating on the Yankees. That is true.
I don't hate on the Yankees when I say that Kyle Higashioka is elite and better than Gary Sanchez.
All right, start the playoff preview. We're not gonna listen to Boch's rants.
Yankees Red Sox game 1 at Fenway. Yankees really screwed themselves out of home field advantage by dropping 2 or 3 to Tampa over the weekend. Lineup wise, Boch, what is that?
I'm just saying the Rays are good.
That's what I was just thinking. Even it,
They didn't screw
I'll
themselves
save it for
over.
later.
They just
but-
suck.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Lineup
They
wise,
really
the
didn't screw
Yankees are
themselves.
leading off Anthony Rizzo.
I was going to go through the actual lineup. I was going to say lineup wise, Yankees have want to have Gary Sanchez come off the bench to start Higgy for Garrett Cole. DJ LeMahieu is on the IL, so we won't be having him. Velasquez is starting in short. Gio Urshela is okay after diving into the Rays dugout, and he will be playing today.
That reminds me of there was who they got the Marlins. Eddie Alvarez swanton bombed into the netting by third base and didn't even get close to catching the ball. That has no connection to anything, but like he literally risked his injury and like life diving into a net for a foul ball in a game that does not
He
matter.
wasn't even
versus the
close
Mets.
to.
Yeah, so something you'll find as you listen to this and more episodes is that Boch never has anything constructive to say. He just kind of comes in with a random fact from 10 years ago that whatever it is. On the Red Sox side, it's mostly their starting lineup. I mean, Schwarber, Kiki Hernandez, Devers, Bogarts, Verdugo, Renfroe, Dahlback, and Arroyo are all pretty much standard starters. They got Plawecki.
No
behind the
JD
plate
Martinez.
today. No JD Martinez is true, but they got Kevin Plawecki catching tonight.
The King.
The former Mets catcher.
Mets legend.
It's true.
I don't. So Christian Vasquez, is he hurt, or do we think that Plawecki and Eovaldi just have a connection?
I think Vasquez was not injured because he played the last game.
That's what I was gonna say. I think he is just healthy. He's
think-
not playing.
I think this is more of matchup wise, wanting to get Plawecki in against Cole. I'm not sure about if Eovaldi is a personal catcher, but
Yeah. All right. So yeah, it's Cole versus Eovaldi. I think all of us here have the Yankees as winning the wild card game.
Yeah, Eovaldi got rocked last time.
Kind of get
Versus the
that
Yankees.
prediction aspect out of the way. And then in the other wild card matchup, we do not have a consensus in that one, which is the Cardinals versus the Dodgers. So the matchup, for anybody who isn't aware, is Wainwright versus Scherzer. Probably 2 of the hottest
Gold.
pitchers in the MLB right now. One is 40, one is 37. So age shouldn't play too big of a factor in like the difference between them. Big news: Max Muncy will not be playing.
another reason I got the Cardinals taking the dub.
They're optimistic Muncy comes back though if they make it far.
Well, they're
They're
optimistic.
Optimistic they do see him again.
They
in the
said he's a
championship
quick healer.
series at the earliest.
Well, yeah, it's
so.
10
He's a quick
if they make
healer.
it far. Yeah.
Shoot him with steroids and put
And
him
I
back
quote, a quick healer.
But for the purposes of the wild card preview,
Oh, he
I
will
would
not be
say
there.
that he won't be playing.
in.
He
Miraculous
will not be
recovery.
making an impact, positive or negative.
I can see Gavin Lux playing a role. Just because he's been scorching since
Is
September
he playing
10th.
again? I haven't seen him since he ran into the wall.
He is. Yeah, he pinch hit in their last game, and
Okay.
he's good to play. He just
Sweet.
needs to play, and Roberts said that he envisions him playing a role in the playoffs. He doesn't know if he'll start, but they value him, and he's going to be an impact throughout the postseason.
So
That's something I know Dodgers fans
I
would
mean,
like to see.
he's been hitting 360 with 967 OPS since coming back September 10th. So
I would also just like to add in that throughout the postseason will be just through tomorrow night.
no.
I don't know that one,
So,
Chief.
all right. So I have the Dodgers winning this matchup.
I also have
I think a normal fan has the Dodgers winning.
I mean, I don't really think that's a fair assessment to say every normal fan. The Cardinals.
Yeah,
did just
there's
win,
gotta be
like,
people that
19
do
of
things.
21
Wait,
games.
yeah,
but it's Max Scherzer. Max
and it's
Scherzer.
Adam Wainwright. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, Adam Wainwright in the wild card games, though. You know, he's Carlos Beltran. Just freeze up. So
That
he
was
has
not
some history.
Yeah, naturally, in the history of the wild
Hey.
card game, when Carlos Beltran froze up. That
Yeah, that
wild
wasn't
card
even-
game at the end of the
That
wasn't even-
NLCS.
Mets fan right there.
Well, if you didn't know, I mean, technically, the last game of the NLCS is a wild card game. It's win or go home.
One could say.
But
I got a stat for you guys here. I was looking this up before. The season series between the Cardinals and Dodgers, the Dodgers did win the series 4-3. But the stat I want to point to is 3. The Cardinals beat the Dodgers 3 different times this year. They only have to do it once.
do we know which date they beat the Dodgers? Because the Dodgers are a different team with Scherzer.
Oh, they
And
beat
with
him.
Trey Turner.
They beat him twice post trade deadline and once before the deadline.
Yes, they beat them twice in September. Who were the pitchers? It was Wainwright pitched one of the times they beat them, but he pitched against
Oh,
Mike White or Mitch White. Mitch White, sorry.
Who?
Exactly. And then the second, and they won by 1 run. And the second time they beat them, they also won by 1 run. And it was Tony Gonsolin versus Jake Woodford.
Yeah, I did choose to select. I did choose to leave out the fact that Scherzer beat the Cardinals in that 4-game series, game 2 of that game series.
Hey, as long as you don't bring it up, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean, I also think is it game 2 or game 1? Might be game 1.
I knew it was one of the earlier.
Yeah,
ones.
Scherzer went 8 innings with 6 hits, no runs, no walks, and 13 Ks.
Was that the
goddamn.
3,000 strikeout game?
It might have been.
So,
I think so.
Yeah, and then Miles Mikolas, I don't know how to say his name, but he
Bro, Lizard
was
Man?
the loser.
it was
It's
just
lizards.
was the 3,000 strikeout game
Thanks.
the same game where he had like a no hitter,
It was like-
perfect 7.
I think it was like an 8 inning.
If that was the same game, that was the Padres.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. I thought it was the same
it was.
game, so the 3,000 was against the Padres.
You might be
Probably.
right about that.
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah, it might have been because they did play the Padres right after.
I also think he
He
did it.
threw
on-
it. He threw an
Yeah,
immaculate
and in
inning.
that game, he also went 8 innings with 1 hit, 9 Ks.
Yeah, it was the Padres.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Scherzer has shown dominance against the Cardinals. I'd like to see if they played their full lineup that game. Yeah, I mean Edmund, Goldschmidt, Carlson, O'Neill. They did not play Nolan Arenado.
They had Newbar, right?
They Newbar pinch hit.
So they had an advantage. They blew it.
No, I mean Newbar is not one of the 3 best outfielders that the Cardinals have. So
You're a hater.
I'm
Newbar.
not a hater of Newbar to say that he's not better than Bader, O'Neill, or Carlson.
I don't know.
Newport is good, but no.
Nolan
It's a
Arenado
Lars
not
Newbar.
playing is the large part of that.
Yeah, I would. That's the big
That's-
piece.
Yeah. I think a ton of these games, especially the wild card game versus the Dodgers, comes down to Paul Goldschmidt, honestly. He's proven at times that he is the most reliable hitter on that Cardinals team. He carried them through that final series or last 2 series. he hit like multiple homers in games, and he basically put the team on his back. So he has to get to Scherzer, especially playing with him. Not playing with him, but having the most experience against him.
I'm going to disagree with you there, Butch. I do think Goldschmidt will be a big part of the Cardinals playoff run because I haven't gone to the World Series. But for tomorrow night, I don't think you're going to have to look like it's got to be this guy. It's got to be this guy. It's going to be a collective effort. Get Scherzer's pitch count up. Try and draw walks. Get a hit here and there. Just get him out of that game as early as possible. Because then it's not a matter of. Then it's no longer a matter of playing Max Scherzer. It's a matter of just playing the rest of the Dodgers in ideally a four inning game. Whatever it's on.
They might use Urias out of the pen. Because
I think both teams won't hesitate to throw a starter on there. Anything it takes to win that game.
I definitely think we see Jack Flaherty in tomorrow's game.
I mean, if needed, yeah, I could see it. But I think that if they don't have to, I think that Buehler and Urias will be safe to start the first two of the division series if they make it that far. Especially with like Kershaw going out, I think
that's what I was going to say with Kershaw going down still.
Do we have any updates on when Trevor Bauer will be rejoining the team? Like we're going to see him?
Not this season. Not this season. Hopefully never again.
Still optimistic, but
Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
I am holding on Trevor here.
I'll concede to the others because I'm not great with bullpens, but I think both of them have a solid bullpen.
Cardinals have Gallegos, Hicks back, Alex Reyes, who's been the last few weeks, month.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Alex Reyes has been lights out the last few weeks. He had a rough stretch towards end of all.
But then he lost his closing spot. So
Genesis Cabrera. Do we know if Genesis Cabrera is in their pen?
Yeah, he's their lefty specialist.
Nobody got hurt. Was removed from the game, so I don't know if he's in or out, but he's not listed on their injury report. So, no, he is. He's listed as day to day.
They've also got two-time All-Star Andrew Miller in that bullpen.
Yeah, but
despite his struggles this year, despite the struggles this year,
are you intimidated by Andrew Miller?
Am I personally? No, not really.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Nick could he come in and make a difference? Hell yeah.
Look, Nick, the kid that got 0 hits in the league, is not scared of this MLB pitcher. And then the Dodgers have Gratterall, Niebel,
Joe Kelly,
Jansen, Joe Kelly. Anybody else? David Price. I'm sure we could see Tony Gonsolin probably be in the pen. Kenley Jansen.
They have a redhead guy. I forgot his name.
Blake Trennan.
Blake Trennan is one of their biggest keys.
Phil Bickford.
That's
I don't know if he's in the pen. But yeah, so I think it's more even of a matchup than we think, especially with like how rough it's been for Cody Bellinger this year, and not having their best hitter in Muncy this season. He's been their best hitter this season. I don't think that's ridiculous to say, but I do still have the Dodgers taking it in a close one.
That's what I was just saying. I think it'll definitely be a good one.
All right. So that's the preview for the wild card. If we move on to the divisional series, I guess we can start with the first AL non-wild card or non-like wild card set one, which is the White Sox and the Astros. This is an interesting one to me because I think that I don't know if I necessarily believe in the Astros, even though did they lead the league in runs? Was that them?
I think it was the Blue Jays.
But I think they were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely towards the top.
It's tough because the Astros, they've played well in the past, and
it was the Astros.
It was.
The Blue Jays weren't even second. Both just spraying up the Blue Jays.
They had the most homers. I was
Blue Jays weren't even first in their own division. Runs scored.
Oh, snap.
So for that game, it's going to be McCullers for the Astros, and for game one, at least, of that series. And the White Sox are undecided, but my assumption is that we'll see McCullers, Greinke, and Garcia. Unless anybody thinks Valdez, Uriquidy, or Odorizzi will get a start.
No, I think those are going to be the three for Houston at least.
And then I don't know the injury status for the White. Let me look at their injury report for the White Sox.
Rondon is
Marshall
back.
and Abreu. So I
What'd you say,
expect
bud?
this.
Rondon's just back, so I don't think he can
Oh,
go.
okay, I was going to say,
I
I
mean,
thought he
yeah,
was-
I
thought he
mean,
was
I
ready to come back.
expect Giolito, Cease, and Lynn.
Well, I don't know
Not
about
necessarily
Cease.
in that order.
These teams are gonna, like, all these teams are gonna need a fourth starter. You
I
can't- you
mean,
can't
not
do this
necessarily.
unless you're having someone pitch on 3 days rest.
I mean, no. Is it not a best of 5?
It is.
Best of 5.
Yeah. So you win 3 games and it's over.
But yeah, yeah. if
Well,
we're-
yeah, but I mean, we'll think about the other games when they're needed. You know what I mean? I think.
But I think you just look at pitching depth over like top tier starters because unless you're gonna see a guy like go out 3 days rest, the only one I think on the White Sox that can do that is Lance Lynn, and even he's had some injury concerns this year.
Yeah,
So
I mean, if I'm the White Sox and I'm getting a 4th starter, it's certainly not going to be Dallas Keuchel. So it's going to have to be Rodon. Because who else would start for them? Kopech, maybe.
That's
Bullpen
what I was
game?
just thinking, yeah.
Kopech into Crochet, maybe.
like, Crochet is like a one inning guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
really.
Maybe Reynaldo Lopez.
I mean, they do have a good bullpen with Kimbrel and Kendricks at the back. But the depth there isn't great. And then on the Astros side, they do have pretty good pitching depth. Odorizzi, Presley, Christian Javier, Kendall Graveman can all come in different scenarios. And I know like Christian Javier can get you 2 or 3 innings in a pinch. He's been doing that all year. He hasn't been great to end the year. But if I'm not mistaken, Garcia has been okay at the end of the year. Pretty solid. Except for his last game, but he was playing Tampa.
but
So,
the offenses are the reason why these teams are here, to be fair.
yeah, I agree.
You
I don't
got
really
the-
know. I have the White Sox winning this series.
I do. I think
I
it's gonna
do
go
as well.
7
I don't
or
think
5.
you
It's
do,
gonna go
Patty.
5.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you have the Astros winning this series.
I do have the Astros. Got more
For a
stats
reason.
on that one too. Yes. White Sox, they did what you're supposed to do as the winner of the AL Central. You beat up on all the bad teams and you get into the playoffs and have to play real competition. White Sox record. The White Sox played 32 games this season against teams that are currently in the playoffs. They went 12-20. And the record against teams above 500 was even worse.
But you also have to consider the fact half those games probably came at the beginning of the year when Robert and Eloy were both out. So, and they didn't have Kimbrel half the time for about half those games. So I think
And
you know,
Eloy
those
and
games-
Robert are 2 big pieces of that offense.
They are
Robert,
big, even recently over the last month. They're just not winning these games.
I don't. But then the Astros on the other side, besides Correa and Altuve, are there proven playoff contributors?
Well, no,
Brantley,
because
maybe?
they're Brantley, yeah, but they're also young, in the sense of like Jordan, Kyle Tucker haven't really gotten like that much playoff experience. I don't know if Bregman's back.
He is.
Like, so
Yeah, that's
Bregman
what I
will
would
be
say.
a part of that
You didn't
rotation.
mention Bregman.
I don't think Bregman's having a great year. He's kind of having like a Yelich year. He's just hurt all the time.
Bregman, yeah, I was say Bregman. I don't even think played 100 games.
He did not. He played 91, but he hit 270 with a 777 OPS. So it wasn't a great year. But he did hit 12 home runs, 55 RBIs. Like he's gonna hit. He's a good hitter.
This is also too.
Someone on the where are you gonna step out?
Sure, he couldn't stay healthy and have a good season over 162. That means if he's healthy in the playoffs, these are best of 5, best of 7 series. Especially with guys Bregman, who's got all this playoff experience. Regular season, how he did this year means nothing.
Yeah.
It's true.
One swing of the bat, next thing you know, he's winning Series MVP, and they're back in the next, or they're in the American League Championship Series.
It's true.
But I think last year for the White Sox was a big learning experience for them. They're young guys, got tons of experience, and then I think this year they're gonna make a jump with just the overall how much they perform better. Robert isn't striking out as much. Eloy is just making much more hard contact. It's just everybody on that team right now is clicking, and I just think they're overall 5 ways better. You have the best defensive catcher in baseball in Grandal, just stuff like that.
Yet they are clicking against all these bad teams.
Hey,
I mean, a
I
lot of
wanna
it's
go-
confidence too.
Oh.
I,
It's true.
I
I
don't
want to
even
go back to the Astros for a sec. One of the guys that wasn't mentioned that I think should be is Kyle Tucker.
he was.
That man right there is going to make an impact.
He was mentioned.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mentioned him.
Oh,
Wait,
what's
Jordan.
wrong with
Along
that?
with Jordan as two young
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
who
No,
can
I heard
hit.
those.
Is it
Well,
crazy
Kyle
to say-
Tucker, I think, is going to have a massive impact.
honestly, besides Altuve, I think Tucker was their second best hitter, and then I would
I
say
think so for
Jordan was
sure
their
this year.
third best, just
You're-
overall. Because I just think
we
Correa,
can we can go to the stats.
I think
Mhm.
Correa slumped for a little bit and was
Yuli
hit
Gurriel led the American League in batting average.
Yuli
Yuli
Gurriel,
Gurriel did hit 320.
but that doesn't mean much. Honestly, batting average
it
doesn't
does.
equal
It
slugging
does.
and on base.
Okay,
I like batting
I
average
mean,
a lot.
I
think
would
it means a lot.
Boach. I would argue that Tucker was their best hitter if you have Altuve as their second best, as the best right now.
I can see that. Altuve and them
Tucker-
and him.
Because Tucker hit 294 with 30 homers and 92 RBIs, and Altuve hit
Mm.
277 with 31 and 83.
Yeah, I thought they were just the most consistent two. The
But
entire
the thing
team.
is, I mean, I don't know. Just Jordan hit 277 with 33 homers and 104 RBIs.
He
And
missed time.
Gurriel hit 319 with 81 RBIs, and he had 170 hits.
Isn't he? Was there a stat? Is he the oldest player or one of the oldest players in AL history to win the batting title? Because I
37 probably.
had no idea he was 37. Like if
Yeah.
someone came up to me
Wait,
and asked
who?
like Yuli Gurriel is
Gurriel.
37.
He's 37.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought he'd be
Yeah,
like
no, I
around
wouldn't have
30.
been able to tell you that either.
All right, let's move because we got a couple more series to go over. But I'm taking the White Sox. I know Bocher's taking the White Sox. I know Pat is taking the Astros. Nick, who you
I'm
taking?
also taking the White Sox.
All right,
I'm taking the Astros. Like I'd love to see the White Sox win, but it's just the AL Central. This happens every year. They've got the team that gets our hopes up, and then they have to play another division winner, and they get knocked out right away. But I will be rooting for the White Sox.
Yep. All right, and then the other non-wild card affected series is the Brewers and the Braves. So this is an interesting one. I have the Brewers.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
also
that-
shooting Brewers here.
I think it's hard to beat. I don't think any team in the league really can beat their top three starters. I think the Dodgers maybe.
Cardinals.
I don't
No,
think the Cardinals
but-
beat their top three starters.
Who's their third?
Corbin
John
Burns
Lester?
is better than any starter on the Cardinals.
The Cardinals' third starter. John
J.A.
Lester?
Happ, maybe.
It's either
It's
Lester or
Wainwright, Flaherty, Lester.
That's it.
probably, yeah.
Stops after Wainwright and Flaherty.
It's Wainwright. The Cardinals' top three are Wainwright, J.A. Happ, and John Lester, because Jack Flaherty will not be starting any games unless they get to like the American League Championship Series
Yeah.
or the National League Championship Series.
Yeah, and I would take Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta over those three.
Yeah.
And they still have
I mean-
Lauer too.
Lauer, they
fourth
have
guy.
Adrian Hauser has shown over the last couple seasons that
I do like
everyone's-
Hauser.
he can be a solid starter. He's not good, but he's solid. He can get you some innings.
I just say bottom of the
Um,
rotation innings eater.
Yeah, it does hurt for them losing Devin Williams.
Definitely.
Stupid.
But they do have Brett Anderson, who might come out of the pen in the playoffs, and Boxberger's been all right, and Suter's been all right, and they still have Josh Hader's arguably the best closer. So
I'm just worried for the Brewers' offense. To be fair,
And that's the biggest question with them. I'm a believer. I think Garcia is better than he's given credit for. I think Willie Adames is healthy now. It's going to be a big part of it, but what they get from Eduardo Escobar, what they get from Christian Yelich, because he keeps getting hurt, what they get from Narvaez, what they get from Urias, Swan,
Lorenzo Cain has to do something.
Jackie Bradley Jr. It's
Like they're well rounded, but when you look at the other side of the Braves, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Swanson, Riley, you have Soler, Duvall, even Darno. They're just been proven hitters, except for Riley and Swanson, maybe. These hitters have been.
It would have been really
good.
nice for the Brewers to get 2019 Keston Hiura this year. Someone that can mash.
Really disappointing season, honestly.
What's the Braves' third starter?
It's
Morton.
Morton, Freed, and then it'll be
Ian Anderson
Ian Anderson.
or Huascar Noah.
I was on
Cookie
the
Toussaint was getting starts at the end of the season.
I was on the
He was
fence
part of
about
that
this year.
rotation.
Who's there? I'm trying to think of their fifth. Was it Drew Smiley?
No, it was Tuki Toussaint.
Yeah,
I thought Smiley was starting for them at the end of the year.
Was one.
I think
he
Smiley
went-
was starting, but
Smiley
but
was.
Tuki started
alternating
probably like
between
10 or 11
starting and
games
the pen.
towards the end. Yeah,
Smiley was coming out of the pen for a while toward the late end of the season.
But I think the big difference, like if you were just to say that if you compare starting pitching and hitting, you would say the advantage of hitting is the Brewers, the Braves, and the pitching towards the Brewers. But what puts the Brewers above the Braves for me is the bullpen, because I have zero faith in Will Smith.
I mean,
There's
they do have Rodriguez and
that's what I was about to say.
And I'm not-
Rodriguez was really
I'm
good.
not- I'm not worried about any of them. That, to be fair, like Rodriguez, didn't he not just get rocked versus the Nationals last
Can't really-
appearance?
Can't really
So
use one game. And
Yeah, but like,
hasn't pitched.
he
he
came
also-
over to be the
He
closer.
also
and he
hasn't.
just-
His last
not-
5
he did
appearances,
not
none of
come
them
over
were
to be
against the
closer.
Nationals.
but he came over to be high leverage situations, and he hasn't panned out, I guess, the way they've expected
Because he
it.
had one bad game against the Nationals.
There's more than just one. I feel like he's just been getting not up to like expectation. And then you compare Maztec, was it his 1 or 2 years? He's been really good.
Here's what I'll say: Richard Rodriguez has not been good against Milwaukee.
And he was
pitched
at the
against them.
Pirates, right?
He has 7 innings against them this year with 3 earned runs.
Good thing
It's
he's
not-
not playing the Brewers.
What?
Huh?
I said good thing
confused.
he's not playing the Brewers, sarcastically though.
Oh,
Very
what?
confused. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest wild card in this series is Ian Anderson, because he's been back and forth this season in terms of like he was hurt and then he was good for stretches and really bad for stretches. And so really he's going to probably going to face Freddie Peralta in the third game. And I think that's the weakest of the 3 Brewer starters. I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
Yeah, he's terrible in the
Yeah.
first inning.
So that's the matchup that they have to win. If they can steal one of the Freed versus Burns and Morton versus Woodruff.
Woodruff,
so
I
be
feel
it,
like you can hit it once every few times.
The way around Morton versus Burns. Freed versus Woodruff.
You think Morton's going to be the first starter?
Yeah, they already named it.
Oh, okay. So it's Morton, Burns, and then I think Freed. I think they can win the Freed.
They can win the
versus
Freed
Woodruff game. If Freed pitches really well and they hit normally, then yeah. And then the third game I think is very winnable because I personally think Ian Anderson is better than Freddie Peralta, but I'm also heavy into the Ian Anderson stock. As everyone here knows.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like Freddie Peralta a lot, but like I think that's I don't want to say an entirely even matchup, but I mean, like you said, that's definitely their best shot.
That game is in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's even bigger advantage, personally.
It also does hurt the Braves a little bit that Mike Soroka was out all year.
Definitely.
He was
He
so
huge
good
piece.
before his Achilles injury.
Yeah, he tore it again. So we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll probably be back mid-season next year, and we'll see what he is. Because after like 2.5 years off is a lot. Maybe honestly, what is it?
Oh,
Yeah, depends on-
Kershaw. Kershaw is just out of the postseason entirely.
Yeah, he just had an elbow injury onto the IL. So
I mean, their postseason does end tomorrow night anyway. So
no, it doesn't. But we'll move on from that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I have Milwaukee.
Milwaukee here, just because of the bullpen.
Yeah, I've got Milwaukee.
Pat.
yeah, I have Milwaukee too. This was like a lot closer than it should have been, but I think in the end, all the injuries Atlanta faces here, they're going to catch up to them because they lost Acuna. They just kept plugging in new outfielders at the trade deadline, but they brought in guys that like hit like Jorge Soler. He's been hitting a lot of home runs for him, but he's one of those home run or strikeout guys against Milwaukee.
Adam Duvall.
I do love my Adam Duvall.
So do I.
These
And
guys.
Jock Peterson is the third one, right?
I forget
Yeah.
about Jock
Yeah,
Peterson.
Jock
too.
Peterson.
All three of them are strikeout or home run guys.
Well, Duvall is not really a strikeout guy.
Duvall's a home run guy, big home run guy. Not batting average.
Peterson and Soler. Or yeah, none of them really have high batting averages, but they're like Soler and Peterson are like home run or strikeout.
They just had tons of tanks because you have the infield will hit 30, right?
Swanson didn't, but yeah, the rest did.
They're close.
Now you put them
Albies-
against the best
Albies
pitching
hit
staff.
30.
And isn't Milwaukee like a top 5 defensive team or something like that?
Yeah, they're very good defensively.
So that's going to be a factor.
I mean, it's Urias, Adames, Wong, and Vogelback is the infield. Vogelback isn't great, but the other.
And then you have
very good
Kane.
defenders.
You have Jackie
And then
Bradley and
Kane,
Kane.
Jackie Bradley, and then Yelich
Yeah.
and Garcia. That's the other two outfielders.
So they're
Garcia's-
really, really well rounded.
Yeah, they're a very strong defensive team. The entire season has been characterized by offensive struggles. When Willy Adames plays, they hit well. So we'll see with that. Moving on to Rays versus Yankees, because we all have the Yankees moving on.
Oh yeah.
This is where it gets interesting because I know one person here is not picking the Rays for sure. I am picking the Rays. I don't know about the other two.
I chose the Rays.
Yeah, I got the Rays. It wasn't particularly hard for me.
It was hard for me. I think it's going to be
It was
close. Because who are the Yankees' 3 starters for this? If they win the wild card and move on.
I say you're probably seeing. I don't know. I'd start Corey Kluber game 1. Then you're probably going to see Nestor Cortez, and then today's Tuesday. Yeah, Garrett Cole will be able to pitch game 3. Talion, I don't think will be able to start a game, like because he's come back from injury. I think he'll be a long relief guy.
So
back.
the Rays have Shane Baz lined up for the first game. Shane
He's so
McClanahan lined up for the second game. And the thought is that Rasmussen will pitch the third game. My guess is that one's more of a bullpen game. So he gives them 3 innings maybe. And then they get maybe Ryan Yarbrough in a long relief role or Luis Patino in a long relief role. And then Fairbanks, Fireisen, Fleming, Kittredge, Robertson.
Their bullpen is just so impressive to me.
And I mean, it's like one of those things where like they always have good bullpen arms.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't even like before this year have you heard of Drew Rasmussen like at all?
I mean, if you include the farm system that they have, it's top to bottom the best run team in the league. I don't really think that's a hot take.
Most of that came from the Archer trade, the little
Yeah.
Pirates, but even then
And
they
have
trade
Archer.
well.
And they got they got
They
Archer
do have
back.
Chris Archer.
They pulled Chapman and Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, I would
It
take.
worked.
I mean, again, this is all subject. These guys are young. Baz is 22 and McClanahan's 24. So for all we know, they are not playoff performers, and Kluber and Cortez put the work in. But from what we've seen, I wouldn't bet on that. In terms of like the lineup with the Rays, I mean, they just hit and hit and hit and hit.
Nelson Cruz, I think, might have been top 5 best acquisition of the trade deadline.
He's been really big for them.
Rosarena just hits. You know, he's hitting 275 this year. Brandon Lau has 40 homers.
How many homers did Rosarena finish with?
20, close to 30.
20 flat.
20 flat.
Yeah.
Dang.
Lau
He sucked in
had
like
30. Lau had 39. Meadows had 27. Mike Zunino had 33.
Oh,
Made the All-Star team
we
this year.
stands in
Mike
the
Zunino either hits a
190
home run
average.
or is out. He is he is the either you hit a home run or you
Now I gotta
don't.
look
And
at his slugging.
Lau to a lesser extent is like that. I mean, his slugging is 559, but his average is 216.
Look
Well,
at
yeah,
him
but that's
minusing
this
his
year.
slugging.
Look at Lau previously.
His
Lau had a-
slugging is
Lau-
600.
Lau had a batting average, didn't they?
Lau hit 250. But for
Like
most
for-
of the year, for this year, he was 250.
Oh, okay.
But for most of the year, he was like 210 with a lot of home runs. And then he got it up toward the end of the year. But Zunino is like the prime example, I think, across the league of someone who can hit a lot of home runs, but he cannot hit if it's not a home run.
Hmm.
That's solid 301 on base percentage with a 560 slugging.
I'm ready. I have the Yankees, partially biased because I'm a Yankee fan, but also too, a couple of things. One, when we just played Tampa in those 3 games, Aaron Boone managed that bullpen terribly. And I'm thinking he did it on purpose to throw him off for next round. That's what I'm hoping for.
Or, and hear me out, Aaron Boone is not good at his job.
Well,
That's what I was going to say.
Are
Hear
you
me out. Boone
disrespecting
mismanages them
Well, I'm
again.
saying that
World
for
Series
years.
legend Aaron Boone?
But anywho, Yankees, they've been the streakiest team in baseball all year. They can rattle off 13 in a row and they can lose 9 out of 10. It's just a matter if they can get one of those good streaks going.
It's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
turtle.
I think that's a very fair. Could I see the Yankees winning this series? Yeah, I really could.
We
If they
underestimate
get
the
super
power
hot.
of the rally turtle.
But
Yeah, especially since one, like these guys. Well, let me look this up because it's either McClanahan or Baz. I think it was McClanahan, but I could be wrong. It's one of their rookie pitchers that's been really good, but like he's got like a 6 ERA against the good teams.
I think Baz has only played like 3 games.
Baz had like
McClanahan,
4 starts.
McClanahan, it's like a 5
Yeah,
ERA.
Baz didn't play that much.
McClanahan was like a 5 ERA against like teams that made the playoffs. I think.
Yeah,
So
I think Baz shut you guys down, honestly. Didn't he go like 6 innings of like 1-run baseball versus you guys? Something
I
like
think-
that. But overall, he's been really impressive considering the fact it's his first year. I
okay,
think the
so
Yeah,
Olympics helped him.
I'd say so.
I don't think the Rays had a starter qualify in like counting
Anything?
stats.
they did not.
Yeah.
Because
Nice.
the Ryan Yarbrough led them in innings at 155.
So that's
Oh, wow.
160.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that the bullpen depth is better in Tampa Bay than it is in New York. And I think that they're just so consistent. Like I agree that the Yankees could get really hot, but if they're not really hot, then they're not going to win.
But I think
Well,
Severino.
I think that,
Severino's a big part of that bullpen now.
That's why I wanted to add in too. Rays have the better bullpen, but the Yankees have had the best. The bullpen's been the best it's been all year. Not only with Severino, but not everyone's healthy because we don't have like Britton and O'Day. Didn't really pitch at all for us this year. But of the guys that have been like pitching for us all year, and now Severino back, this is the best the bullpen's left all year. And I think the big thing is too is playoff baseball, especially in New York, is a completely different animal than having to play the Yankees in a regular season game in New York.
And I think that that's a fair thing to bring up, which is why home field advantage is really important.
well, I was going to say about getting hot. Getting hot, if you get hot and you beat Boston in a playoff game in Fenway, and then you walk into a series against Tampa Bay, your team's going to be on fire. The fan base is going to be on fire. It's a different
Tampa's
team.
going to be half empty or close.
Yes, I was going to say Yankees will have. There's a good chance the Yankees have more fans in Tampa Bay than Rays fans do. So essentially, we're playing 5 home games.
I don't know if it's gonna be a full takeover. But
No, not a takeover,
also-
but like less than 50% of Rays tickets.
it'll be like the
Or
Texas
Rays
games.
have sold less than 50% of their tickets for the divisional round, and it's expected that like Yankee fans or Red Sox fans will be buying the rest after they see which team makes it through.
Fair.
That stadium is such a dump.
I think that it's interesting that we have talked about this for about like 4 or 5 minutes and not once mentioned Juan DeFranco.
He's elite. He owns the Yankees.
Yeah, can I be the host so I can mute Boach?
Wander Franco has immediately jumped to one of my top 5 favorite players in the league.
I mean, he's
good. He's really
one of
good.
the best, one of the better hitters we've seen, I think, across the league this year. He doesn't own the Yankees because he has 1 RBI single against them.
He
That's
owns
what I
them.
was gonna say. Against the Yankees, I wouldn't say, but
Bring up Wander Franco has 0 career postseason hits.
This is true. He
He
does,
is
but
really-
But he's never struck out.
he
in
also
the
has
playoffs.
been on base. He went out. Well, did the streak end or is it still?
No,
going?
it's still going. He's the longest streak.
44, 43, 44, something like
When
that.
is
On base.
5? No way it ended.
Something.
He passed. Did he not just get number 1?
No, because Joe DiMaggio had a 56-game hit streak.
No, like
So-
for a rookie, I meant to say, or a player.
Yeah, I'm sure he has it for a rookie. But anyway, yeah, I think at the end of the day, I trust the Rays more, but I could see them losing. And the last one, the last series,
for the update on the streak, it did end. It ended at 43
Ooh.
games.
Is that the longest for an AL rookie?
one last stat: Mike
It's
Zunino,
tied with
Mike
Frank
Zunino,
Robinson.
46% of all hits Mike Zunino has this year are home runs.
46.
Okay,
How many homers does he have?
46%, 33,
Only 60 hits or 60 something hits.
72.
72.
Ing.
I'd also
How many
like
were
to add
extra
in-
base hits? That's the real question. How many extra base hits? Because his. Wait,
Again,
what?
if I just had
No
the-
one cares, Boach.
If I just had
Ice.
the mute button, it'd be great.
Okay.
I'll mute myself,
The
so you go
last
with
the
that.
last series is whoever's playing the Giants. So because 3 of the 4 chose the Dodgers, we're gonna talk in reference to the Dodgers versus the Giants, but I don't really think much has to be said because I'd take both of these teams over the Giants. I think that the Giants are a really good story with I think Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, like they've all been in the playoffs before and they've all hit in the playoffs before and they're a good team, but I don't trust their pitching more than I trust it for either of the 2 teams.
Oh my God, Trevor Bauer just posted a YouTube video. I'm not gonna watch that now, but overall, I just
hope
don't.
he's retiring.
He's a mullet now. That's disgusting. Get him off my screen. But I just think the Giants pitching. I don't understand how it was so consistent throughout the regular season. I haven't had any faith in it, but it just kept
it's not
disproving me.
that's what I don't like saying. It's because it wasn't super consistent. It was different guys being hot at different times. Gosman was hot at the start of the season. DeScalfani was hot at the start of the season, and then they fell off a little bit. But Logan Webb went on that tear when they were falling off. So as a rotation, there was relative consistency, but individually there wasn't.
And Johnny Cueto is an X factor too, because when he's on, he's on.
McGee and Rogers are cool. They're a nice duo at the end, but they're not. I don't see this Giants team winning a playoff series. If
7 games.
Nick or Pat, either of you disagree?
With that, I've got I've got one thing to say on the Giants. Well, 2 things. Sure, they had the best record in the league, and I was forced to like them because they got Chris Bryant, who's my favorite player. So I've got to root for just Chris Bryant. But my main thing is it's not an even year. The Giants aren't going anywhere. Cardinals will win that series in 4.
So the Dodgers win
In 4?
Okay.
You have the
Cardinals.
wait, you have the Cardinals being number 4?
It's only a
Yes,
best
he
of
does.
5.
I mean, is that not what he just said?
No, but I just
Okay.
if we're
So
comparing
the-
Cardinals to Giants, I might take the Giants.
It's only a best of 5, Boach. Which I have the Cardinals going in the World Series.
I don't have that.
Okay,
at all.
moving on. Thanks for spoiling. The next round is Rays versus White Sox, or in Pat's case, Astros versus Yankees.
Oh, I'm excited.
Everybody else has the opposite.
Wait, so can I go first since you guys all have
Yeah.
Rays?
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right,
Get out of the way.
Yankees, Astros. More historical trends. 2015, Yankees played the Astros in the playoffs. 2017, Yankees played the Astros in the playoffs. 2019, Yankees played the Astros in the playoffs. 2021, they're on a collision course for each other again, especially after the cheating scandal. And all 3 of the prior years, or the 3 odd years, the Astros won. I think the Yankees finally Yankees finally beat them with one, they beat they have a lot of momentum going into the series, and then two, not only is the team, but the team and fans are still pissed about the cheating scandal.
So fourth time's the charm.
Fourth time is the charm.
Okay.
Yankees in six.
All right. Now moving on to the other three that we have is Rays versus White Sox. I have the Rays. I want to hear your guys' opinion.
I'm a
think
White
that-
Sox fan.
I think that the White Sox will beat the Astros, but I don't think that I don't think that their luck stays on that long. I don't think that the Astros are anywhere near as good as the Rays, personally.
I disagree.
No, I agree with Hart. I've got the Rays.
I have the
I
White
don't-
Sox.
I think that if the Yankees beat the Rays, then they go to the World Series. Whoever comes out of that matchup is going to the World Series.
I just
the
think-
Rays are too good.
I just think the White Sox offense is too good to get shut
I-
down.
Not really.
That just
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of White Sox games this year. I just think that they're hitting when it needs to come through. It will happen.
And
like-
that's fine, but is their hitting going to come through more than the Rays? And I don't think that that's.
I
gonna
think
happen
they
because
will.
the Rays just hit top to bottom.
Yeah, that's what I think it's gonna come down to.
But like last year in the playoffs, I
I'll
don't.
say that
Besides for Randy,
We can't use any last year's stats because the first two rounds of the playoffs were a different format and there were no fans. So like last year should not count as any playoff experience for these.
Okay.
young-
Also, let's just say this. I think that the Rays have the better pitching staff in terms of if you include the bullpen.
the bull.
Top to bottom.
But even still, Hendricks, Kimbrel, you have Kopech, you have tons of weapons like Crochet.
Name three.
Okay, Crochet, Kimbrel, Hendricks. You have Ronaldo. You have Lopez, who can fill in. You have everybody. You have Bummer, who's really good. He's been pretty solid. And you have the backup pitching. It's not bad. You have
I didn't say it
weapons.
was bad.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
nobody said it
are
was
you gonna
bad.
take?
It's just-
Are you gonna
It's
take?
just not better than the Rays.
Are you gonna
The
take?
Rays have consistently had one of the best bullpens in the league for years.
If you're gonna ask me, am I gonna take the Rays? Yes, I am.
Are you gonna take the Rays bullpen over Liam Hendricks and Craig?
Yes, I think
Two
we've
proven
made it
closers.
abundantly clear in our last two statements.
Totally.
I want the guys that
400%.
proven 100% that they can close the game, unless it's the Yankees at the cornfield or the Cardinals or the Cubs.
Okay.
the people
Two
play.
closers win games. If that's all it takes.
But then you have Shane Baz, rookie, McClanahan, rookie.
But you didn't have a problem with them being rookies in the last round. You only have
Because-
a problem with
That's
them
what I
being
said.
rookies
They
now
made it
Because
this far.
you're
because
comparing-
they're playing the team that you like.
No.
And
I
that's
just
fine.
think
Pat's been
think Shane
abundantly
Baz-
clear that he believes the Yankees are going to win because one, he likes the Yankees, and
No,
two,
no.
he trusts the Yankees.
But then I think that Shane Baz and McClanahan is going to work versus the Yankees and their offense because
And
the
why
Yankees
won't it
offense has
work
been
versus the White
inconsistent.
Sox?
Because the
That's what I was
White
gonna say,
Sox
why
offense
change?
is actually consistent.
The Yankees were 5-1 against the White Sox this year.
That doesn't mean anything.
What do you mean?
No.
How does the Yankees have to do with the White Sox? I'm
Because
talking
if the
about
Yankees,
the Rays and the White
offense,
Sox.
if the
If-
Yankees
so if-
offense played better than the White Sox offense in their 6 matchups, then how are you going to be like, nah, Yankees offense doesn't count when you're trying to compare it to the Rays pitching?
But also, what we're saying is the Yankees offense beat the White Sox offense in 6 games. So what you're saying is that the Rays pitching will work against the better offense, but not against the worse offense.
But I think that the Yankees are streaky. So the White Sox are in for a streak. I just think overall that the White Sox
were
can
the start of both
Rays.
streaks.
They were the start.
The White Sox were the start of the not even the 13. No, they might have been the start of the 13-game win streak.
Wasn't it the 4 game set after their cornfield? The 3 game set?
No, because the first 3-game set was earlier in like May, I think, and it was an easy sweep. May 21st, I think, was the May 21st, 22nd, or 3rd. Those dates could be wrong, but I know we swept them in a weekend series earlier in the season, and then I'm pretty sure that they lost the Field of Dreams game, then won the next 2 games in Chicago to start the 13-game win streak.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna take the White Sox just because the given
Okay.
talent.
And that's fine. That's what you're going to take. And me and Nick are going to take the Rays.
If I were to pick this matchup, like I do have to agree with Boch that I'd give the pitching edge to the White Sox, but I'm still taking the Rays in the series. Because like individually, the White Sox might have the better pitchers, but the better pitching unit is the Rays.
Yeah.
Like if that makes sense.
And that's what I
agree
said.
400% with that.
That's what I said. I said top to bottom, like the entire
Yeah.
thing together, the Rays are the better pitching staff, and that's what Boats disagreed. Okay, so we have 3 Rays versus 1 White Sox in that scenario. Now we move on to the NL.
Also, too, to bring it up before, sorry, White Sox 12-20 against teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. NLCS, which is the Brewers for all of us versus either the Dodgers or the Cardinals. 3 of us chose the Dodgers. 1 of us chose the Cardinals. You have the Cardinals over the Brewers. Please explain to us why.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? This one is like, sure, the Brewers have the better pitching, but this is one of those series where it's like, if the Cardinals actually get this far, talk about being hot. They would have beat the Dodgers in the Walker game, beat the Giants. That's the best 2 teams in the National League right there in back-to-back series, going into the playoffs, winning 19-21, including 6 of 7 against the Brewers during that stretch. Plus, it's just a divisional battle. So, they've seen these Brewers 19 times this year, so they've seen these pitchers before. And when you're playing a division rival, the stakes just be that much higher. And I think the win streak just carries through, and they'll win it in like 6 or 7.
Anybody else care to comment?
I mean, if the Cardinals make it that far, by all means, they could make it. If they get through the Dodgers and the Giants, by all means, send them to the World Series.
That's my point, especially since the last 2 weeks of the season, they took 6 of 7 from the Brewers, and they won the season series versus the Brewers 11-8.
Yeah. If they get through the Dodgers and the Giants, they could win the whole thing. Like, you just got to do that first.
Yeah. If they get through the Dodgers and the Giants, I'm not saying that they don't have a
very
chance
tall
against
task.
the Brewers. I do think that I think both series are close. I have the Brewers over the Dodgers because preseason I was with Pat at Pat's house, and he claimed to have the Cardinals winning the division and going to the World Series. That was his sleeper pick. And that same day, do you remember what I had?
Yeah, the Brewers.
I had the Brewers, so I'm going to stick with that. Would I have liked the Brewers to lose? Sure. If the Padres were in the playoffs, they would be my World Series pick because I love them. But they're not.
Pretty sure I had Cincinnati win that division.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. I think the Brewers have such a good pitching staff, but it's so weird because it's like during these last 2-3 weeks of like tune-up baseball, where you're supposed to be getting ready, they lost. Who's the guy that punched the wall? We mentioned
Evan Williams.
They lost Evan Williams. They're just straight. They got swept by the Dodgers. Lost 6 or 7 to the Cardinals. This is not what you want to see in like your last 13 games of the season.
Yeah, but to be fair, they were dealing with injuries.
Well, I agree. Like I don't think that's why
Willie Adames, like what I said before, Willie Adames didn't play most of toward the end of the season. He was out for about 2 weeks with a hamstring injury. But what we'll say is just simply what I've said since they've made that trade with the Rays, getting Willie Adames and sending over the 2 relievers. When he plays, they hit, and when he plays, they win. They're a very good team when Willie Adames plays, and I think him and Garcia and Yelich. I think that Yelich shows up in the playoffs, and is that based on anything? Because the last 2 years he sucked, but I do think that he shows up finally, and I think they get it done. That's my take on it. I think Adames steps up and kind of cements himself higher in the tier of shortstops than he might have been right now, or definitely was at the beginning of the season. I think Garcia comes up in the playoffs. I think that they're just so good defensively that they can afford. Because honestly, I mean, if I'm looking at the Dodgers, where the Cardinals are very good offensively. I'll give them that. But like with the Dodgers, without Max Muncy, hitting wise, it's been Turner and Taylor. And Betts to an extent. But most of the guys on the Dodgers, I would say, are having down years. Corey Seager's hit well. I forgot they have Trey Turner. I should take that back because Trey Turner's been a monster.
And Will Smith has proven he can hit. So
It's true.
you have Will
Will
Smith.
Smith, he's hit
Pujols.
258. 25 home runs. It's not
For a
really
catcher,
that
that's
fast
pretty good.
either. It's all
For a
right.
Yeah, that's
catcher.
what I was gonna say. For a catcher, give me that.
Solid. Yeah.
What was the stat? Or what was Will Smith's stat?
He's hitting 258.
With 25 homers.
25 homers. That's pretty
What's
good.
What's his on base percentage? Does someone have the
I have it in front of me. 360.
360? That is
Beautiful.
I was hoping it would be a little bit lower so I can bring up Gary Sanchez and be like, Gary Sanchez has very similar numbers, and he's terrible. He's terrible, but Boch is saying Will Smith is good. Gary
What's
Sanchez
Gary's OBP? 340?
310.
Oh, yeah, gold.
Never mind. Okay.
Because-
So I personally have the Brewers over the Dodgers, and
I have
sure
the
two of you
Dodgers.
disagree.
Yeah, I got the Dodgers.
I have the Dodgers just because Scherzer, Bueller, you have Urias, David Price can start. Just overall
A lot of experience.
talent,
They've been there before. They could do it again.
consistent
Okay.
talent.
Okay, now we get to the last four. I have all of our World Series picks here. So we'll start with Nick. Dodgers, Rays. Who do you have taking it? And a quick reason. why.
I'm taking the Rays. They saw the Dodgers last year. The Rays are, I don't want to say the same team because, I mean, they lost Blake Snell, but it hasn't affected them pretty much at all. And the way Snell's been pitching in San Diego, I wouldn't miss him too much. But I think the Rays bats are gonna attack the Dodgers rotation, and I think it's gonna go Tampa Bay, and it's not gonna make it to 7.
Okay, Boch, Dodgers, White Sox. Who do you have taking it and why?
Got the Dodgers pitching staff. And Kenley Jansen has a good World Series. Overall, I just think that Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager will rock the White Sox pitching.
I have Brewers, Rays, and I'm going to take the Brewers because I've liked this team for a while, and I've cemented my claim in the preseason that they're a World Series team. So I'm going to stick with that assumption, and I think that their pitching is. I think that their pitching is as strong, and it's not better than the Rays. I just think that those three starters are that good. And then Pat finished it off with the Cardinals and Yankees.
Probably the heavy favorites. This one might probably have the most realistic bracket so far. Cardinals, Yankees. Cardinals luck finally runs out. Simple as that. Yankees again for both teams to get this far, they'll have extreme momentum, be on extreme hot streaks. But then when it comes to that, both teams at their best, like offensively and pitching wise, I think the edge goes to the Yankees.
All right. And then everyone want to name one or two breakout players that they have, maybe one hitter and one pitcher.
You know, I think
Anybody
the
have-
pitcher. I wasn't expecting a pitcher.
It's half of the game.
So it doesn't necessarily be breakout or just like someone who has
Stand up.
Big impact.
Like a standout
players, I
player.
guess.
I wouldn't. It doesn't have to be a breakout, but someone you think will outperform what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Right.
In the
So
regular
like if you
season?
think, let's say like if you think like someone who start like Cody Bellinger goes off in the playoffs and returns to the MVP form, like that's fine.
Bro, we're making a lot of Dodger predictions for the one game they're going to be playing this postseason.
Well, you don't have to pick a Dodger, Pat.
Oh, no, I won't.
Yeah,
but I'm
but
not saying.
how many other teams?
I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick a White Sox for hitting, just because I think their offense will carry it. So I'm gonna go.
Say it.
I'm gonna say Tim Anderson will be the
He
standout
hit
player for the White
310
Sox.
this year.
No, not just that. Like, not.
It's just
no,
like it's just.
If Tim Anderson doesn't do good, it's gonna be a disappointment.
My sleeper pick this
Okay,
year.
Andrew Vaughn.
Tim Anderson is gonna have a good
You know,
year.
Andrew
This year,
Vaughn,
this
though.
year in basketball, when the NBA season gets started, my breakout pick, it's going to be Nikola Jokic. I just think that he's going to show up and perform. Like,
Okay,
Just maybe.
fine.
Like
I think Andrew
I know
Vaughn
I
is
might be
stand
the only one who thinks this, but
fine. You want me to go with the smaller one? Fine. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like that doesn't help anybody.
Andrew Vaughn is a breakout player candidate.
Okay, Andrew
Rookie.
Vaughn.
all right. Well,
That's
yeah,
your
see,
choice.
that's a
Andrew
good one.
Vaughn.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
good one.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
That's your hitter. Now think of your pitcher. Nick, hitter.
Hitter, I'm gonna go off what you said with Bellinger turning into an MVP candidate. I think Christian Yelich is gonna turn it on. Stepping in the post, I think Yelich turns it on. What do you mean? You can't say that, Booch.
Well, what do
Yelich
you mean? I
has been
can't
bad
say
the
that.
past-
You're acting
Yelich
like
had a
Bellinger
down
did
year
not
this
win
year,
an
and he had a
MVP
down year
and
the year
Yelich won an
before.
MVP. They won MVP.
Okay, yes.
So
Yes, we're not saying that they're not good.
Tim Anderson
They're
had
not-
a good year this year.
Tim
Yelich
Anderson
hasn't had a
hit
good year in like
310
3
this year.
years.
Christian Yelich sucked for the last 2 years.
See,
It's not the same thing.
I'm-
You just
you
don't
know,
understand what we're asking.
I got-
Pat,
Christian Yelich.
Trying to avoid sounding like Boch, can I pick Gleyber Torres here?
how did he
Totally.
do this year?
Gleyber
Awful.
Torres. Stats this year: 260, only 9 home runs, 259, 9 homers.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
But he's back at second base, and I just think he's going to be a huge part of the soft Yankee offense getting going.
I am struggling because I have a lot of guys. I'd say my main one is Willy Adames. But
Yeah,
I'd
I thought of
say-
him too.
I'd say keep your eye out on Gavin Lux. Because
I'd like to see that. Mhm.
All right, and then pitching wise,
I've got sleeper reliever Blake Trinan for the Dodgers. He was
Interesting choice
solid
going
throughout.
reliever.
I just think that Trinan throughout the regular season he had a 2 ERA, which is really good. But I think that he will eat up a ton of innings for the Dodgers and help them throughout any of the playoff series, especially the wild cards coming up. I think he'll be the impact reliever over Kenley Jansen in the end.
okay.
I think
Nick?
that's good.
Mine's gonna
Unless-
sound weird, but I'm gonna go with Shane Baz. It's not really like yeah, I know he's only pitched 3 games, but I think he's gonna be a big difference maker for the Rays this year in the postseason.
I mean, he's their game 1 starter, so they got.
Yeah,
they got
I
faith in
think-
that prediction.
As they should. I would too. I think he's gonna make a big difference for them.
All right, Pat.
Luis Severino.
Okay.
He's got about 20 combined innings over the last 2 seasons, and he's healthy again, and he will be lights out.
And mine is Luis Patino for the Rays. I think that my
Good one.
take is that he pitches upwards of 10 innings across the series and doesn't allow a single run. So that's my prediction this playoffs. So yeah, I think that wraps up all of our topics for now. It's our playoff preview. We got a Yankee, a Dodger, a Brewer, and a Ray pick. So we're covering the bases there.
Yo, if we added like 6 more people to the podcast, then one of us would have to be right if we all chose different teams.
That's what I was gonna say. One of us would
That's what
need
I
to be
mean.
right.
If you get a diehard Red Sox fan in here that'll pick the Red Sox to win the wild card game, you got yourself a pick.
Throw it in.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that no one picked the Giants after winning the most games in the league.
It's not an even year. That's all there is to it.
Listen, maybe that's right. So yeah, that's it for our first podcast. I think we're gonna try to get 1 or 2 out a week right now for this schedule. And it will just be another. The podcast name might indicate that this is baseball mainly, but it's not. It will also, have football, basketball. If Butch is good, I'll let him talk about hockey for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Sick day, Dave.
Islanders are winning 2-0. Andrews Lee back from his
That's not.
ACL
You're not.
injury.
You're not. You're not good yet.
Preseason.
You were not
Preseason.
good.
Nobody
in this episode.
cares.
Stop talking. And I will be available for any golf talk if they let me. So yeah, that's the schedule right now, and yeah, all right, cool. I'm good. See you guys.